There are so many exciting things happening in Ashland County at this particular point in history. When you look at every one of those things that we cite as positive things unfolding here in our city, in our county, the Community Foundation and Jim Cutright personally are involved in just about every one of them.
Baseball Hall of Famers are called 5-tool people, 5-tool players. They possess all the intangibles to be Hall of Famers. And I consider Jim Cutright a 5-tool administrator. He's extremely bright and well organized. He has tremendous work ethic. He works great with people. He has tremendous integrity. And he does what he says 100% of the time. People rally behind guys like that.
Someone asked me, how does it feel to be in the fundraising business? And frankly, I hadn't thought about it in that way, but I very quickly answered, well, I don't feel I'm in the fundraising business. I feel I'm in the stewardship and grant-making business.
Philanthropy is about engaging people in a meaningful way and allowing them the opportunity to support those causes which are closest to them. Foundations are endowment components of philanthropy. And at the end of the day, particularly for a community foundation, your mission really in the macro is to try to make your community a better place to work and live.
I actually spent most of my career in construction management and came to Ashland because of an opportunity in that area. Worked here for 32 years. Had the opportunity in 2007 to join the board of the Ashland County Community Foundation. And so in 2012, our founding president, Dr. Lucille Ford, had spent 17 years running the organization and was looking to step aside. I was a little burnt out, frankly, on construction work, and so I decided that I would take on this challenge. And it was interesting. Once the opportunity was presented to me, I just felt like I knew what was needed to take the foundation to the next step.
Jim's transition to the nonprofit world was a very smooth one because in the corporate community, he was extremely involved in so many community causes and nonprofits. He was on multiple boards. He gave of his time and his knowledge before he was in the nonprofit world.
I think in many nonprofits, the foundations sit back and they wait for the community to come to them with a need or with a challenge, and then the foundation figures out a way they might be able to help. Jim Cutright himself, as the leader of this organization, is going out into the community, and he himself is taking a look at where are there issues that need to be addressed? Where are there needs that are going unmet here in this community? And then he is figuring out, with the help of his staff and donors, how can we meet these needs?
The Community Foundation and Jim's role in the foundation, it all starts like this, one-on-one, with Jim sitting down with the donor, and he's listening to the hopes and the dreams and the desires of the donor.
Jim's been able to build a tremendous amount of support and respect from people because he's the first guy to jump out of the bunker. He's the first guy to volunteer his leadership and his skills. He's there when the need is the greatest. He doesn't have to be solicited.
Many times what we see is that when the Community Foundation puts its stamp of approval on a project with a grant, we very rarely will fund an entire project. But what we're trying to do is inspire others to get involved. So sometimes we'll provide seed money. Other times we may provide a capstone grant that allows a project to be brought to completion.
His interest in people and the community at large is so sincere. People trust him because he has high integrity.
There's none better than Cuddy in listening and facilitating those dreams and making them come true. He loves his job. He makes it a delight to be part of this organization, and I think that's probably another key to his success.
I don't know if he has an Achilles heel. I certainly haven't seen it. None of us are perfect, but this guy's pretty close.
Cuddy talks to us a lot of times about buckets of need and how the foundation can be a player in meeting those buckets of need. He's very good at educating the board and enlightening us about what the community needs are.
So I identified 4 primary buckets of need, which I had labeled as education, compassion, community improvement, economic development. It was important for us to begin to stress those areas, to invest more in those areas. We set aside $75,000 to commit to a targeted action plan for the city of Ashland.
We began work on that plan. It's become known as the Targeted Action Plan, and already several of the major projects highlighted in that plan are actually being constructed and underway as we speak. There were 4 real components to that plan, all of them having to do with revitalizing the city of Ashland. One was the introduction of Main Street Plaza on Main Street. Another project and element includes Center Run Trail, also the resurrection of the Pump House Corridor. And then finally, another element would be creating an identity for the city of Ashland that begins at the major gateway to our city off of Interstate 71.
We're trying to create standards for development so that we can grandfather in the folks that have already built businesses out there, but as it continues to be developed, we would like to elevate those standards so that we make entry into our community as appealing as possible. 5 years ago, I created what is called our Impact Youth Council, a program that assembles high school age students, grades 10 through 12, from each of the Ashland County schools. And we have given them a small pool of dollars each year over which they have full decision-making authority about how to make grants that benefit youth in Ashland County. And we teach them about philanthropy, we teach them about what the Community Foundation is, what our interactions are with the other nonprofit agencies in our community.
The Impact Youth Council has really been a force for the foundation to be here for generations to come. I mean, that's been our tagline for 25 years. We're here for generations to come.
We've had a tremendous arc of growth where when I came in, we were at about $16.2 million in assets. We've been able to grow that to just over $60 million in just 7.5 years. We had 246 endowment funds under stewardship. We now have over 500. We have a great supportive army of donors that are supporting our efforts. I have a highly skilled, dedicated staff. I have a board that's been really supportive of every crazy idea that I've wanted them to entertain.
There's no better visual of his thinking of the future than the team he's assembled here at the foundation. You know, he has a group of young, smart, professional women working here who are raising families, and he understands what he needs to kind of leverage to bring all that skill here. And in doing that, he's created in these young people also a desire to serve their community and be a part of it and look ahead and have a vision for the future.
So often I've had friends ask me, well, why do you care so much about what's going to happen in the future in Ashland? And my comeback to them is, if your children are here and you're raising your grandchildren here, why don't you care more? And so that's my challenge to those that will remain.